Hello students, welcome to a class of Conversation in English. The topic for today's class is Communicating with Guests with Industry Terminology, where the focus is on history and government. Dear students, the lesson objective for today's class is, at the end of this class, you should be able to explain the industry terminologies, vocabulary and phrases that are commonly used in English language while discussing about history and government. Dear students, in our previous conversation in English class, we studied the various terms which are used in travel and tourism industry. In this class today, we will be learning few terms which are used when we are discussing about history and government. So students, please take out your Conversation in English textbook from the second semester and refer to the third unit. Dear students, the first term is amnesty. Amnesty is an official pardon for people who have been convicted of political offences. For example, I am a citizen of India and I live in India, but suppose I do some work which the government of India thinks that is against the country and which is politically incorrect, and the government thinks that I am a criminal. The government can put some case on me and try to put me in jail. But suppose before the government catches me, I somehow went out of India to some other country and I stay in that country and I ask for amnesty there. So amnesty is like I get protection in that country and I am allowed to live in that country. Now there is a worldwide organization known as Amnesty International. This organization looks after the human rights of people in different countries. So for people who are considered as offenders in their own country, they can ask for amnesty in some other country and they can stay there, provided they are able to prove that the work which they were doing in their country was not illegal and was not, provided they can show that the work they were doing in their country was not illegal and they were doing something good for the people, but the government of that country only considered his or her work as illegal, due to which he was about to be put in prison. So this is basically amnesty, wherein you are considered as a criminal in your country but you are allowed to stay in some other country because that country or the organization Amnesty International thinks that the work which you were doing in your country was not illegal, and by putting you in jail the government was trying to violate your human rights. The next term is anarchy. Anarchy is a state of disorder due to absence of non-recognition of authority or other controlling systems. Now dear students, please look at this image here. Do you recognize this terrorist group? Yes, this is ISIS, that is the Islamic State. Now a few years ago, Islamic State was controlling large parts of Iraq and some parts of Syria. So now when Islamic State was ruling these parts, so we can say that those parts were in anarchy because there was no elected government in those parts. Islamic State was the sole organization who had all the power, and that country was not ruled by any proper elected body or proper elected government. So Islamic State was doing whatever they wanted to do, and at that point of time we can say that Iraq, the parts of Iraq and Syria which were under Islamic State were under anarchy. Dear students, the next term is anarchism. Anarchism is a belief in the abolition of all government and the organization of society on a voluntary cooperative basis without recourse to force or compulsion. So students, we had already learned what is anarchy. So anarchism is a concept wherein the people believe that there should not be any government. All the people of the country should work voluntarily and they should cooperate with each other. And there is no rule or force on the people. Now India is a democratic country, right? Suppose if India starts to follow the principle of anarchism, then the government of India will have to be dissolved and there will not be any government in India, and all the people of India will work voluntarily, they will help each other, and there will be no rule. So now this concept was introduced by a person from France. His name was Pierre Joseph Proudhon, and he is also known as the founder of modern anarchism. The next concept is appeasement policy. Appeasement is a diplomatic policy of making political or material concessions to an aggressive power in order to avoid conflict. Now please look at this image here. I believe you can recognize this person. He is Adolf Hitler. Now Hitler was from Germany, and he was leading the Nazi party. Now just before the World War II, now Hitler was becoming very aggressive, and he was very powerful, the Nazi party of Germany. And all the nearby countries of Europe, the smaller countries, they were very afraid of Hitler, and they were afraid that Hitler or Nazi will invade them, or they will get into war with them. So in order to keep Hitler happy, they always used to accept whatever Hitler said. They always used to agree to what Hitler used to say. So in order to keep Hitler happy, and in order to avoid any conflict with Hitler, as they were afraid of Hitler, they used to do whatever Hitler says. Now this was known as appeasement policy. Dear students, the next term is armistice. Now armistice is an agreement to suspend hostilities in order to negotiate for peace. Now please look at this image here. I hope you can recognize the persons here. So we have the Home Minister of India, then we have the Chief Minister of Assam, then we have Mr. Hagrama Mohilari here, who is from BPF, and then here we have Mr. Ranjan Toymar, who is from NDFB. So students, from this image I believe you can make out this is an image from the Bodo Peace Accord, which was signed this year. Okay. So before this, the government of India and NDFB, they were at war. Now NDFB wanted a separate state for the Bodo people, and they wanted to have a separate state as Bodoland. And for that reason, NDFB was constantly fighting with the government of India. But after, but this year, in the month of January or February, a peace treaty was signed between NDFB and BPF and the government of India, and now the war has been stopped. So this is an example of armistice, wherein both the parties who were initially at war, they stopped the war and they agreed for peace. The next term is autarky. Now autarky is a policy of economic self-sufficiency of a nation, and it can be secured at the cost of other nations. So autarky is a concept wherein a country tries to be economically self-sufficient. So self-sufficient means you don't have to depend on anyone else. You can do all the things yourself, when you have resources to do all the things on your own. You don't have to depend on anyone. Now a country can become economically self-sufficient only if it has enough production of food grains, it has enough minerals, it has enough resources of fuel, it has enough resources for giving jobs to the people of the country, it has enough resources for medical and healthcare, for education. So a country will be economically self-sufficient when it doesn't have to depend on anyone else for anything. And while doing so, if you follow a principle of autarky, you will think only about your country. You will not care what happens to the rest of the world. The example here is North Korea. So we sometimes see news, right, wherein there is news that North Korea is testing this missile, and North Korea doesn't. We also read several news wherein North Korea doesn't care about anyone else. They only think about their country. They only want the improvement of their country. They don't care if for that they have to fight with any other country. So this is an example of autarky, wherein the country is trying to be economically self-sufficient, and they are thinking only for the good of their own country, and for that they are even ready to sacrifice the other countries, or that is at the cost of other nations. Dear students, the next term is autocracy. Autocracy is a system of government by one person with absolute power. So students, in India we have democratic form of government. That is, the citizens of India will give their votes in an election, and the people who get elected in the election, then they will form a government. But there are some countries in the world where there is no elected government. That is, government is not formed by the people. Rather, there is only one person who rules the country. Example is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a country where there is a king, and king is the rules the country. He has the supreme power. So that is known as autocracy. The next term is autonomy. Autonomy is the right or condition of self-government. So that is, autonomy means you have the right to do things your own way. You don't have to take permission from anyone to do a thing. Currently, you students, like, you have to take permission of your parents if you want to do something or if you want to buy something, right? But once you grow older and you start working, you get jobs and start working, have your own family, at that case you can take your own decisions, and you may not have to ask your parents for everything. Now you might have also heard this term autonomy before, like you might have heard about colleges, like some colleges autonomous. So a college, when it is autonomous, what it means is it is not affiliated to any body. Now it can conduct its own exam, prepare its own syllabus, do the assessment. So that is an autonomous college. The next term is ballot. Ballot is a method of secret voting. Please look at this image here. Look at the paper with different symbols. These are election symbols. So this is a ballot paper. I think some of you might have given vote in election. But now in India we have this EVM for voting. But previously there used to be ballot paper. And there is a paper like this which was known as ballot paper, and people used to give their vote on this paper, and then they used to fold and put it inside the box. I think in college, if you had ever done voting for selection of general secretary and cultural secretary, all those in college, I think still voting is done using ballot paper, and some of you might have seen this, experienced this when you were studying in college. Dear students, the next term is balance of power. Balance of power is basically done to preserve equality of strength between countries, so that no single country becomes powerful enough to be a source of danger to others. Example is United States of America and Russia. Now in this world we have seen that United States and Russia are two very strong countries. They are very strong militarily, and they have all the advanced weapons. Now it should not be a scenario wherein one country becomes more powerful, and in that case there is possibility that the country which becomes more powerful can dominate other countries. So always we see that Russia and USA going neck to neck with each other. I mean, if USA gets some new weapons, Russia also will immediately get some new weapons. If USA tries to excel in the space, we see Russia also putting a sufficient effort in the space. Similarly, oil exploration or any other technology you take, USA and Russia are always neck to neck with each other, and this is where they always try to balance the power. Both the countries try to make sure that the other country is not becoming more powerful than them. So this is an example of balance of power. The next term is bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is a form of government in which the work is done by the officials who are specially trained for the services. Those officers control the policy of the government. They are responsible to their chiefs and not to the public. So, dear students, in India we have this bureaucracy wherein the employees of the government of India, they work for the government and they implement all the policies and plans of the government. Now in India we have the parliament wherein the elected representatives will make different policies and schemes. Now who will implement these policies and schemes at every nook and corner of this country? It is implemented by the government officials. So the government officials are the bureaucracy. Now last year, if you remember, new transport rules were introduced in India. So the government changed several transport rules in India. Now the rules were made by the government, but who executed them? The people who have worked for the transport department, the traffic policemen and other people from the administration who formed the bureaucracy, they implemented the government policies. Dear students, the next term is Bolshevism. It is an alternate term used for a communist in Russia. So students, people who are communist in Russia, they use a separate term for the word communism, and it is known as Bolshevism. So students, do you know what is communism? Communism is a political system in which the state owns and controls all factories, farms, services, etc., and aims to treat everyone equally. So that is, in a communist country there is no individual property. Whatever property is there, it all belongs to the government, or it belongs to the country. So people cannot have individual property, and everything is owned by the government. The next term is collective security. Now collective security is the cooperation of several countries in an alliance to strengthen the security of each other. Example is NATO. So students, have you heard this word NATO before? It stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Now North Atlantic Treaty Organization is an agreement between some countries like USA, Great Britain, Germany, Turkey, etc., wherein all these countries, they always help each other if some country is in trouble. Now in NATO, suppose there are 10 countries. So out of these 10 countries, suppose if one country is in trouble, all the remaining 9 countries will help that country. Example is in 2001, when the World Trade Center was attacked by Al Qaeda, and United States of America went into war with the Taliban in Afghanistan. So USA did not fight the war alone. The war was fought by NATO. That is, all the countries which are the part of NATO, they together fought the Taliban in Afghanistan. Similarly, when Iraq was attacked, Saddam Hussein was the chief prime president of Iraq, and it was invaded by USA. So USA alone was not invading Iraq. It was done by NATO. All the countries in that group, they together invaded Iraq. So this is an example of collective security. Dear students, the next term is colonialism. This is an ideology by which a state or nation exercises complete control over the people of a weaker nation. The power that subordinates is called the colonizing power, and the people that are subordinated are called colonized. Example, British colonization. Dear students, before World War II was fought, Great Britain used to control different countries of the world. So Great Britain was very advanced at that point of time. They were technically advanced, they had industries, they had they had a very strong defense mechanism. So they were a very strong country. So they used to attack different weaker countries of Asia and Africa, and all these countries were made colonies of Britain. So Britain used to control all these countries. You all know, right? India was also not an independent country before 1947, and India was ruled by the British. So this was known as, this concept wherein a stronger country controls the weaker countries is known as colonialism, and best example is British colonization. So students, with this I am completing today's session. Hope you had learned various terms from history and government. I think many of you already know all these terms, as you have studied many of these terms in school and also in college. So students, please see this video, read your textbook, and ask me if you have any queries. I will meet you again later with another class of conversational English. Till then, have a great time, and thank you for watching this video.